I remember I was 28 and they put me in charge of this deal. It was a massive deal. It was a $140 million bond portfolio that we owned, and they made me in charge of it. But we actually controlled this company that was worth $2 billion at the time. That was a lot of money in the late 80s. And I remember talking to people that were like 50, 60, 65 lawyers, uh, trustees, and it was just an immense learning experience. So then I actually, one of our clients, as luck would have it, I don't have time to tell the whole story here, but was Berkshire Hathaway. And I had many meetings with Warren Buffett. Uh, but in one of those meetings, he said, um, you got to keep things really, really simple. So when it came to complex transaction, I was known as the simplicity guy. But the other thing he said to me, which changed my life, he said, if you ever start a company, you should start a holding company. And I didn't know what that was at the age of 28, 29. But when I started my company at 30, I started a holding company, and that holding company just makes my personal life really easy because all of my private holdings are in one entity. And that's what Mutual Capital Alliance became, which is a long-term holding company. We're now in our 29th year of business. That's where all my income comes from. So he influenced me in many ways. Uh, but a holding company allows you to just have one private holding. And, I just watched so many of my friends are involved in multiple deals and they're chasing K1s and they're trying to figure out their tax. And for me, it's all about simplicity. And that's why I did that. Another thing he taught me was he said, I've been in this office at the time for over 40 years. He said, don't make office space and real estate, uh, a decision that you have to make every year, every 5 years. Just find a home, a place that you're going to have an office that you're going to die in. And so I searched the United States really, and I found a building in Dallas that is the best building. It's got a hotel attached, 4 gyms, 15 restaurants, a doctor's office, a hairdresser, a dry cleaner, a dentist, etc. And when my lease runs out, I'll be here for 44 years, which is really quite crazy. But it speaks to one of my values, which is stability.
Yeah, that's really a cool story, and it's neat. When you talk about holding companies, and by the way, I did the opposite of you, and so I can be here as a testimony or a testament to how um, like scattered and unsimplified life can be when you don't have a holding company and have since instituted and implemented a holding company that owns the assets under a trust. And that again is for simplicity's sake, to gather everything up, to have a tax return, to have, so what you're saying is so true. And for anyone that has brands or businesses that can be sold, um, there is value to having them all under one roof. There's a little bit of a multiplier effect that can happen when you have a holding company, and you have multiple brands in there that have similar alignment. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, let's just use a real world example. We started, as my relationship with the Gathering of Titans, we started the very first entrepreneurial week on Necker Island. This was 2007 is when we created it. I worked with two other entrepreneurs and it was great. But I spent a ton of time with Branson, and when you think about it, he could have 400 holdings. I don't know what his numbers are now, but let's just say he has
Over
400.
450 now. I think it's at like
Okay.
454, something like that.
So there's a lot of investors with hundreds of holdings. But Richard Branson gets the value of not only 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 5, or in his case 400, but he also gets the multiplier effect, using your quote, of the Virgin brand, which triples the value of his holdings. But on top of that, you also get the efficiency of using the same structure. You might use the same payroll provider, the same lawyer, the same computer. So the Pritzker family made billions off of these shared services platforms inside of a holding company. So if you have multiple investments or you plan to, and you don't have a holding company, I think you're crazy.